this past week. It seemed like a lot. It's anecdotal. I don't have charts. Was that a lot? Was that more than usual? Was that more than last season or seasons before?
No, it felt like a lot. I mean, when you run full speed and another dude that's running full speed, you kind of keep track of them. So I'd say it was a lot, yeah.
When you guys had the success that you did when you were pulling, by my count, the first 5, you guys had 52 yards rushing on those 5, and then you had the one-yard touchdown. But what does that feel like? Again, you guys are all big guys, so you weren't the only one pulling, but you're the biggest of the guys pulling. What does that feel like when you are 6'5", 340 and pulling through guys?
I mean, it's just, I don't know. I've been kind of in this body my whole life, so I always felt heavy. But, I mean, just me pulling isn't the one getting the job done. There's all 11 of us on the field. I just did my 111. And if it turned out good, that's what I'm supposed to do. So,
what has this Stanford series meant to you as a player? You've been a part of some wins, some losses, some crazy games, crazy finishes.
Yeah, this has always been an interesting game every single time we play them because they're always a good team and they're always ready to go against us. Like you said, my freshman year, it was one of the first times we lost at home in a minute, so that was always a tough one. But you know, you can't take this week. You can't take this week lightly. Stanford's always been a good team, and going down there is always going to be a tough road game. So you know, I'm just excited to get after them.
What makes this team able to just block out the outside noise so well and focus on the task at hand and just week to week?
I'd probably say you just can't really fall into the hype. You can't really, you know, lean into that. And once you're seeing that all the time, that'll mess with you mentally. That was a big thing that we were talking about last week facing Colorado. You know, they had a lot of hype going into the game. And that was something that we told ourselves we can't buy into, because if you buy into it, that's when you start to get into your head during the game. And then that's when the team starts to fall apart because you're scared of something that you never even saw before. So, you know, once you just block out the outside noise, that's one of the biggest things that we always say, just block out the outside noise and just worry about what you have to do or be all right.
What does it say about the team leadership, the player leadership of this? A lot of guys. That's hard to accomplish, to get that many guys to do that.
Yeah, I feel like when you establish that as the standard throughout the year, to just not worry about what other people are saying, by the time you get around the season, it makes it a lot easier to be able to do it. So, I mean, just throughout this whole entire year, we've heard about, you know, all the opposing teams that we're going against, but it doesn't matter who we're going against because we're really always going against us. So, I mean, that's just important. Everyone knows that. Everyone understands that. And, you know, some people are still working on it. Obviously, it can be really tempting to fall into a lot of the noise around football games, but once you master that craft of being able to block it out, you should be good.
How much did you enjoy this past weekend? Just in that, I mean, again, like guys always get into shouts, so I'm not going to make more of that, but like, it seemed like you really were particularly enjoying yourself compared to other times.
Yeah, I mean, it always feels good being able to go out there and execute what you always say you want to do throughout the week. So, you know, when we get to shout, we kind of have a rule that you can't celebrate shout when it's a close game. You got to actually solidify your win and make sure that you're actually doing what you need to do. So every time I hear shout, you only have so many home games, and this is my last year coming around, so I try to appreciate every shout that I get and, you know, have fun with it, because once it's gone, it's gone. You don't get to do it the same way that you do it now.
It's kind of an unusual road environment. Usually go into a place you're expecting a lot of crowd noise. Stanford typically hasn't. How, as an offensive line, is that challenging at all? Or, I mean, obviously you don't have to change your signals or anything pre-snap, but does that cause any problems?
I mean, I'd say it's honestly nice if there's not a lot of crowd noise, because then we could actually talk as an O-line. You know, when you go against big stadiums with very in-tune fans, like, it's hard to hear anything. Perfect example, Ohio State. You didn't hear nothing, and we were right next to each other trying to talk to each other. So, like, going to this stadium where they say there's not a lot of crowd noise, obviously we're going to expect the worst, and we're going to expect that it's going to be a full crowd and it's going to be loud. But, you know, if there isn't, then hopefully we use that to our advantage and just execute properly and communicate.
How's Bo gotten better in year 2 there?
I mean, you see it as he plays. He just knows what he's doing out there every single play. You can tell that he understands the defenses all the time. I think one of the things that I appreciate him the most about is really connecting with the offensive line, and he's done a good job of that, you know, throughout the whole entire year. The O-line is a young group, except for me. I'm the only one who really played with him last year. So, you know, with him coming back and making sure that the O-line has been good, I think that helps with the connection between the offensive line and the quarterback, which helps you go execute on the field. And you can trust whoever's behind you, and he can trust whoever's in front of him.
How's he done that? Making sure the O-line's good.
Just little things, you know, actually talking to people, talking to your teammates, you know, getting to know each other. Right. I think he does that. He's a great character, and he likes talking to people. So, and then on the field, he steps up as the leader, as he should. You know, he makes sure that the O-line knows what we're doing every single play. And we have extra meetings where Bo's in there and he's telling us what he sees, and he'll listen to see what we got. And, you know, just once you communicate and once you work together, I think that's really good. And Bo's done a great job of doing that.
Jackson got some recognition this week for his play. obviously first year as a full-time starter and at a tough position at center. How have you seen him perform? What's impressed you maybe the most?
I mean, his physicality, you see how he plays. He's a very dominant player. I like playing next to him every single time because I know me and him could have a good combination. So, I mean, and he's our center, so we expect him every single game to lead us and make the right calls. And I think he's done a good job of that. And I pray that he continues to do that for the rest of the season.
How much is the game 2 years ago down there still stick with you, bother you?
Honestly, not really. It was 2 years ago. That was a whole new coaching. That was an old coaching staff. Half the people that was on that team ain't here now, so you can't really do nothing about what happened 2 years ago. You just gotta not let it happen again.
Bailey, their number 23, their edge guy. I don't know how much of getting into the interior necessarily, but if you're pulling, like we're talking about, what makes him a challenge from a TFL pressure kind of perspective?
He's a really good pass rusher. You can see it within. He's very versatile off the edge, and he drops into coverage a lot. So I think he's going to be a really good piece on that defense. You know, we just got to be able to. Once again, we got to make sure that we're doing what's right, and if we're able to go out there and execute and do what we need to do, then it should turn out how we want. But no, 23 is a really good player. The whole entire defense is really good. 51, 94, all the guys up front. You know, it's going to be a challenge this week as it always is.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, appreciate y'all.